myself. Oh no, give me that cell. Oh, I gotta go like Cobain. 8 years to the grave, gone insane. My blood got propane. How you gon' go and throw my name with shame? Already cross-faded, making it to the disco. I hate it, and you know how this goes. You framed it, picture painted in my room. This that real life shit, not on Zoom. Got the scene in it.
Make sure you subscribe to JerCrispy.
What's up, y'all? Show us that's the most. JerCrispy, welcome back to another video. The death of Marvel Rivals. Yes, today is the last day. It was the last day of the death. Marvel Rivals was very special to me, bro. I was playing Marvel Rivals right there, bro. And y'all know who I liked the most, man. Tom and Jerry, bro. My cartoon childhood, you know. Damn. But I told y'all, I will bring Marvel Rivals back. If nobody else bring Marvel Rivals back, I will bring Marvel Rival back. Get them the right characters y'all need. Get a fan service. Get all that. I got y'all. We will bring back Marvel Rival, the big planning and all that. Games that got forgotten, that need a comeback, I got y'all. I promise you, I got y'all. But besides all the future stuff, how y'all doing? We halfway there to 300. Really appreciate that. And let's get on to this video, man. We halfway there, boys. Y'all just keep subbing up and all that, and we doing fantastic.
How do I explain to a normal person that the EU International Property Office has a very interesting trademark filed by Warner Brothers, and that MultiVersus being shut down as quickly as it was may have actually been a blessing in disguise?
How?
I get this isn't the kind of thing I usually cover on this channel, but hey, look, Warner Brothers. The 30th of May, 2025. As of this date, Warner Brothers' entry in the platform fighter genre MultiVersus has officially shut down after years of controversy and a dwindling player base. I don't think I need to introduce MultiVersus, but to re-emphasize why this game was such a big deal, the platform fighter genre has never had much competition. The only mainstream game here is Smash Bros. For very obvious reasons, and the second most popular game is Brawlhalla. And as fun as Brawlhalla is, its problems make me want to scream into the void. It's a tough genre to break into, so when a non-indie, professionally produced platform fighter called MultiVersus burst onto the scene with an eye-catching art style, tons of beloved Warner Brothers characters like Looney Tunes, DC, to iconic Cartoon Network All-Stars, and had gameplay that was fast and fun, it was no question the game was going to be a hit. And it was.
Good do I line.
So what happened? MultiVersus is easily one of the most high-profile failures.
Y'all know what happened, bro?
Going from an incredibly popular.
And Warner Brothers don't strike me down. Y'all should have added all the. Y'all should have did like a fan thing. Niggas what they wanted on the game. Like characters who they wanted on the game already. The game would still be alive.
Widely beloved game during its beta that was backed with tons of free publicity from YouTubers and streamers alike, only to quickly fall into the palms of corporate greed amidst the large company merger and change of leadership, the developers being bought out, and updates to the game becoming more and more disappointing as the game's quality tanked. Now, I wasn't exactly a devout fan of MultiVersus. I only played the game for around 16 hours during the beta and only played it a handful of times at a friend's house sometime after it officially launched. But I do have some pretty fond memories of the beta, and I feel like I'm qualified enough to talk about how badly the official release fumbled the bag in comparison. There was a lot riding on this game, and seeing it crash and burn, while justified, was definitely a little depressing. So here's the story of how MultiVersus went from a leading competitor in its genre to an utter laughingstock that may or may not have been sabotaged by the behind-the-scenes nonsense happening at Warner Brothers at the time. Now, to be clear, this won't be a comprehensive breakdown of the game's entire development history, the people behind it, or whatever. Today we're just focusing on the game's fall from grace, as really that's all that 90% of you watching this video care about, and it's all I care about as well. Also, I didn't record my own gameplay for this video, video because the game is essentially f***ing dead and most matches are filled with bots anyway, so please spare me for using other people's gameplay. They will all be linked in the description. So anyway, MultiVersus caught a lot of people's attention for a good number of reasons. Obviously the game's production values helped it stick out since the majority of platform fighters outside of Smash Bros tend to either be indie ventures or just have far lower budgets than
that's actually a game
with its scope. And the large variety of Warner Bros. IP featured in the game and the characters that were picked were a particularly big factor towards its success. It's almost impossible for a completely original platform fighter to become hugely popular these days. Obviously Brawlhalla is an exception if you avoid the insane amount of collabs they've done. Seriously, you can play as The Rock in this game, but a lot of the appeal of platform fighters comes from the crossover side of it. Seeing your favorite characters from different franchises cross over and beat the absolute shit out of each other is inherently cool and fun, and it helps sell people on the game who would otherwise be completely uninterested. It's the sole reason why Smash Bros is as big as it is. So if Kiryu isn't added in the next one, then I'll make sure the next Nintendo Direct opens with Sakurai like this. But obviously aesthetics and
how they talking about dog? I still didn't finish that game, y'all. Hold up.
The next Nintendo Direct opens with Sakurai like
Hold
it's the sole reason out of each other is inherently cool and fun, and it helps sell people on the game who would otherwise be completely uninterested. It's the sole reason why Smash Bros is as big as it is, and if Kiryu isn't added...
Hey, bruh. This is a long game. I'm just gonna tell y'all this, bro. Once we get to the gaming channel, bro, I'm gonna tell y'all this now. Boy, this game is so goddamn fucking long, cuz so long. It's like the story is so long. It's gonna pack. I think I ain't gonna get done doing this whole game. So how I probably gonna do it is I'll probably hit giant 5 straight episodes for y'all, my niggas, and they go play like short games on that shit, and then come back do 5 more episodes of that shit. It's a fun game to play, but I ain't lying, it's kind of stressful too, and you gotta have the right things to go with your stuff. So like, as I'm speaking, you basically need you basically low-key kind of really need hand in hand. Need like, that's a lot of shit. Like you gotta have a bunch of food, health. Gotta have I think it's AP or something like that. Help AP or something like that. It's a lot. It's a lot to explain. It's a lot to explain about this game. But just know it's fun. You pick up some characters and all along. Storytelling just it's there. But we're gonna start to 1, and then we're gonna go all the way to back to the top. I'm on the top, but I'm gonna go all the way to 1, and we're gonna play all the way to 1, all the way to the thing. So we're gonna play all through the games. So I'm just, y'all just be buckle up and be fucking ready. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
The next Nintendo Direct opens with Sakurai like this, but obviously aesthetics and characters alone aren't enough to keep people coming back for more. So how was the actual gameplay of MultiVersus? Well, it was fun. Obviously Smash Bros this ain't, but the game was competently designed and had a brisk pace to it. Each character had their own unique and cool movesets, from my goat Bugs Bunny smacking anvils across the screen and riding rockets. He was easily my favorite. Superman slowly flying towards people and string.
If you play Bugs Bunny as your main, my nigga, you a bitch ass nigga. Just know that. Let me stop playing. I fuck with Bugs Bunny heavy as a bit too.
Them out of the arena.
But shit, I bet a nigga won't fuck with me with the shit. I be fucking over Bugs Bunny with fucking Tom and Jerry.
Boring and bullshit. But each character felt very distinct and fun to control. Throw in some very satisfying sound design and some impactful hit stop on powerful attacks, and you had some very addictive gameplay on your hands. Again, it wasn't perfect. Some characters like the Iron Giant were just so fundamentally unfun to fight that making any sort of changes to them could lead to an utter balance catastrophe. This is foreshadowing the fact they had to straight up remove him from the
yeah, they did. That's what I'm talking. I was about to bring up. I was just thinking about that. Ain't they had to bring up Iron Giant out the game, son? That shit was crazy because niggas was like so much complaining about, oh my god, Iron Giant is so fucking powerful. No, nigga. If y'all was so fucking good at the game, like y'all said, my nigga, and you don't fucking dodge, hit, move, and shit, and grab characters that you could spam, my nigga, like the fuck? Y'all need to know how to play the game.
For a beta, the game was incredibly promising, and it kept me hooked for a good while. Yeah, I didn't spend much time on the game overall, but those 15 hours...
Shit, no, I think I got more hours than you, my brother.
The game was just fun. But you know, there was some absolute fuckery afoot here in the beta, and there were some pretty telltale signs that this game wasn't being managed in the best way. For one thing, microtransactions.
We've got about 50 million followers. We're in the billions of views, and we're a small team. We always felt like our content.
In a beta. Sure, they weren't the most egregious microtransactions ever implemented, but let this be a sign of things to come. Throughout the beta, there was also a bit of confusion over the characters they chose to add to the game, as it felt like a lot of character slots were just being wasted. Now, I'm not going to act like adding LeBron James wasn't objectively hilarious, but when it came to the official first few seasons of the beta, there were some very confusing decisions being made, from adding 2 Gremlins characters a month apart from each other, releasing Morty before Rick for some baffling reason, adding Black Adam for no other reason than promoting the movie at the time, which just doesn't make any sense. No one playing MultiVersus is going to be watching Black Adam.
The hierarchy of power.
I'm not gonna hold you, saying, if you fucking play with Black Adam, saying, bro, these niggas, bro, I ain't lying to you. Let me tell y'all something real quick. If y'all go on the match and if you see a nigga throwing thunder move and thunder clap the whole game, oh, go ahead, just do off the map by 3
It's about to change.
Well,
4 times, bro.
And then in the second season of the beta, they added Marvin the Martian, and that was it. He was the only new character they added to the game before they shut down the beta. Marvin the Martian, out of every other Looney Tunes character they could have picked. They also had an all-new original character called Rain Dog. Everyone's made fun of Rain Dog already, but seriously, who invited this guy? Definitely my least favorite industry plant. At least Jeff the Land Shark is fun to play. But whatever, right? The game was fun. It was pretty damn popular at the time. I think it had something like over 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. It was a big deal. But obviously, even though the game now had a core player base, a game like this isn't going to stay that insanely popular for too long unless more content comes soon. And at the time, you could see that day by day, more people were slowly losing interest. It still had a healthy player count, but here's the thing. The game could have possibly circumvented the whole thing and kept its momentum if it wasn't for the Season 1 delay. The first season of the MultiVersus beta was supposed to release on August 9th, 2022, which was set in stone for a good while. But then for some completely unknown reason, it got delayed and released a full week later. Believe it or not, I think if the season had just been released when it was intended to, they likely would have kept their momentum going. The day Season 1 dropped was the day the game's player count started to decline much faster than before. To this day, there's been no given reason for why they found it necessary to push the season back, with many people theorizing that Warner Bros. Was responsible, since it was during that month of 2022 that David Zaslav started going crazy with the company's tax write-offs and generally meddling with all things Warner Bros. Related after they made Discovery. The devs said this wasn't the case, but they never actually said what the real reason was. So yes, I genuinely do still believe that Zaslav going mental during that 1 week in August had some effect on MultiVersus, whatever it was. Again, it's probably silly to blame the game's player count declining on an update being delayed by like 6 days, but the signs that the fad was starting to die down were clearly there, and the season getting delayed was not going to help that. But anyway, despite its problems and many foreboding signs of mismanagement and greed, the MultiVersus beta was a pretty huge success and people were loving the game. Despite the player count dwindling and the fad dying, it had a core player base who would no doubt support the game's promising looking future. What the fuck? So yeah, in early 2023 it was announced that the MultiVersus beta was being shut down and that the game was planning to have an official relaunch the next year. And this was arguably the biggest mistake they made with MultiVersus because, like, genuinely, what are you doing? Yes, MultiVersus beta was a beta, but that doesn't mean the game has to be entirely shut down just for you to work on the relaunch. Like, yeah, they were definitely working on a ton of new content that we'll get into shortly, but there's no reason it couldn't have just come in the form of a normal update that transitions the game out of beta. This was a massive kneecap to the game's popularity and momentum, and was also just a bad look in general. With how misinformation easily spreads online nowadays, a lot of people genuinely believe that MultiVersus shut down for good after only a few months of activity. That's how sudden and uncalled for this was. And let's not forget, the beta was monetized. It had plenty of microtransactions for cosmetics and even a battle pass. People spent money on this game with no idea all the stuff they bought was about to vanish into the digital
I never spent money on that game.
Taking people's money and then shutting down the game and their ability to use the stuff they bought is textbook AAA predatory behavior. It was absurdly scummy. It doesn't matter what the intent was or how much content they were making for the official launch, this was not the right call, and it was a serious hit to the game's reputation.
Hey, my boy, it's time to Jerry.
the beginning of the end, so let's talk about the relaunch. The relaunch of MultiVersus was not nearly as anticipated as the beta due to the bad press the game had received for rug pulling access to it from paying customers out of nowhere. And the lead up to the relaunch was also not received too well thanks to the marketing. While on the surface, the marketing seemed fairly normal, you know, just posting more clips and trailers to drum up hype for the relaunch, many people were paying close attention to the gameplay they were showing off, and gameplay being shown off was significantly slowed down. Everything looked so much more floaty and awkward, the animations looked off, and the hit stop that happened when hitting an enemy really hard was now adding to the horrible game feel now that everything was slower. Many prayed that the trailers were just slowing down the gameplay in order to show everything off and that the game speed was going to be relatively unchanged, but honestly this was some very desperate but understandable cope. The game finally relaunched on May 28th.
They should have just like kept how it is, and then, you know, add more characters. Like y'all should have add a character. Like if I'm bringing it back, my nigga, I'm bringing like niggas like that y'all want. So I'm listening to the fans, and I'm me and like five other guys or females or whatever. We selecting characters, so we're gonna have a board. Okay, this character. Okay, we're gonna see how they man, and we're gonna sit back. You know, it's gonna probably take us a year or something like that to get these characters down. Boom, and you know, I'm gonna watch some regular show. Sit down, watch every moveset of regular show. Picture that, and then you know, because niggas that really supposed to shouldn't been on this motherfucking game is at least 4 niggas should have been at least on this fucking game, my nigga, from regular show. Mordecai and Rippy, and then shit. Give me Skip's Muscle Man. I mean Benson would be a fire character to play, and Pops, cause they all fight, but I don't know. That's how I would have put it as, my nigga. And then for Adventure Time, I would have brought Ice King, the Lich, and Marceline Dad, and PB, along with that list. So that would have been a bundle right there. But if I did that, I had to might as well just bring a regular show too. Fuck it. It's like only how Vibes not in it because he like, come on. And then if we getting characters, really, if we want to get characters on some shit, my nigga, then I'll go get like bring bench hand. And every time like you press like the X button, you can get turned to different powers and stuff like that, and all that shit. And like who else cartoon shit? Get Courageous Cowardly Dog on that bitch. Muriel. Get Muriel in that bitch. Shit, like a lot of people fans say, oh, in Major World Gumball get 3 characters, really only 3 characters you need to get, probably fucking Gumball, Darwin, and his mom. It's fucking, that's it, bro. It's more and more, and I would have brought back some old cartoons too. And I would have brought Scooby-Doo on them.
Days it managed to get back similar numbers to the beta launch, people were very divided on the quality of the game. The concerns over the footage were very well founded. The game was so much slower now and felt so much worse to play than it looked. It was still a playable game with its own unique quirks, but it was so much more boring and unsatisfying. Strings and combos were way too easy to pull off now due to the floaty physics, making characters like the Iron Giant an absolute nightmare to play against. Again, they had to remove him from the game for a while. The feedback of getting hit by something, experiencing sluggish hit stop and then slowly falling through the air was awful, and you combine that with how big the character models were compared to the microscopic sizes of some stages, and it just God, it sucked! From a gameplay perspective, there was still some fun to be had, and the game still had its own identity with the perk system and focusing on 2v2s rather than free-for-alls. But compared to how it was previously, it was pretty damn rough. And while future updates would seek to fix the balancing issues, fixing Iron Giant for one, there were so many more confusing gameplay changes, one of which being the introduction of shields. In addition that conflicted heavily with the game's focus on dodging and parrying attacks. They were slow and weren't fun to use, and they sucked to play against. But while the gameplay side of things was still at the very least acceptable, the same could not be said about the game's progression system and rampant microtransactions. As dumb as it was to put microtransactions in the game's beta, they weren't the worst thing ever. The finished version of MultiVersus, however, has some of the most despicable paywall progression I've ever seen. Sure, a free-to-play game has to make money somehow, but paywalling other unlockable characters in a platform fighter is all kinds of messed up. Sure, they weren't entirely paywalled, you could theoretically unlock every character in the game for free by grinding in-game currency, but as you can probably imagine, that takes forever, and the reason it takes forever is so you get sick of the grind and hand over your wallet. It's the oldest trick in the microtransaction book and effectively made MultiVersus a pay-to-win game. They did add this new thing called Fighter's Road to help make unlocking all the characters for free more straightforward and less grindy, and while it did somewhat accomplish that, if you wanted a specific character over all the others, then, well, tough shit unfortunately. You have to unlock a bunch of random characters you don't want to play before you finally get the one you wanted the whole time, making the grind feel even worse, especially since any new characters that were added to the game were
speaking of T-Titan Go, back to the drawing board, nigga, I would have had Robin, Beast Boy, Starfire, and Cyborg. We want to add all the Titans. Fuck it. And we might as well add Slade ass in this motherfucker too. I get Terra, Slade, and that motherfucker, Jinx. And that would have been it.
End of the road itself, so they by far took the longest to obtain. The effort put in to try and earn every single character without spending money was just not worth it. The progression system and unlocking characters was awful across the board, and in my eyes made MultiVersus one of the greediest games I have ever seen. And this is probably worth noting, but when MultiVersus began development, it was back when Warner Bros. Wasn't merged with Discovery. The game was released shortly after the merger completed and when David Zaslav became CEO. And while the monetization back then wasn't great, it's clear that the relaunch had Warner Bros. Filthy little handprints all over it. David Zaslav is a money-grubbing jackass who will do anything to pull his company out of debt, even if that means crippling the progression and player retention of an already profitable game just for a short-term boost in revenue. I do not believe for a second that the way this game was monetized was a conscious decision made by the devs. It's a clear result of how much Warner Bros. Has changed and evolved since the game's beta launched in 2022. The higher-ups didn't care about creating a sustainable live service experience and just wanted to squeeze as much money out as possible until players got fed up and left, and the disappointments just kept rolling in. The single-player campaign was lazy and uninteresting, the game's ranked mode was mysteriously absent despite being in the fucking beta and took until the second season to be added, and the questionable character choices were really starting to take the piss at this point. While Season 1 had a strong start with the addition of the Joker, Jason Voorhees, and Agent Smith, they wasted a slot on the Banana Guard from Adventure Time as like a joke character.
I'm finna say, y'all thought I was the only person that thought Banana Guard should not been on Multiverse? Like, I thought I was the only one in this entire world. And niggas were looking at me like, the fuck is wrong with you? You don't like Banana Guard? You don't like Banana Guard? Banana Guard do his shit on the show. Nigga, what? One Banana Guard fucking kill somebody. Actually hurt somebody on the show. Like that, I think I was actually arguing with a nigga on the game about this shit. I don't even know. It was a random nigga. It was like 1v1s. And I just brought up the situation. I said, you think Banana Guard should have been in the game? This nigga said, yes. Nigga, what? I had to look at this nigga like that ass. Hey. Look, real life, it's wrong with this nigga. Like, when till we get to the level of the part we had to get Banana Guard in the game? I would have rather had Ice King in the game. Or Marceline. No hate to Banana Guard. But if you, I promise you, bro, if you go on rank match, these 5 niggas you gotta watch out. Banana Guard, Samurai Jack, Beetlejuice, shit. If you playing the ones before they fixed, it was Iron Giant. And you definitely had to watch out for who else. I know who else was broken too. There was another nigga who broke in too. I forgot, bro, what's his name was, but he was broken like a motherfucker. Oh, and the Joker. Cause niggas was spamming the fuck out that
If
cannon
the game
shit.
hadn't been shut down for a year and had a better roster, this would have likely been seen as the funny meme pick that it was, but people were just annoyed this was wasting character slots for the joke pick. Season 2 added Samurai Jack and Beetlejuice, no complaints there. Season 3 added the Powerpuff Girls, that's fine, but then there's Nubia. Now, I consider myself to be relatively well versed when it comes to comics, but even I had to ask, who the fuck is Nubia?
I ain't gonna.
Okay, so she's a Wonder Woman character. That's fine, though she seems to be fairly obscure compared to any other DC character they could have put in the game before her. Again, she's not a bad pick, but the priorities regarding which characters make it into the game is all over the place. They had Morty before Rick, they had Harley before Joker, they released 2 Gremlin characters separately, Black Adam was here for some reason, Marvin over any other Looney Tunes character, and who the fuck is Rain Dog? By the way, the Powerpuff Girls launch with an incredibly broken Infinite that could instantly knock any opponent off the stage the moment they spawn in, and this one clip did so much damage to the perception of the game's balance, it's crazy. Then Season 4 added Raven from Teen Titans. Again, feels weird that she gets in over other DC characters and even the other members of the Teen Titans, but okay. And then Marceline from Adventure Time gets in, which makes the inclusion of the Banana Guard even more of a f*** up because they wasted a character slot on a joke character from Adventure Time, and now Adventure Time has some of the most reps in the entire game. And then we have the 5th and final season, which caps off MultiVersus' journey with Aquaman and Lola Bunny. Dear God, what a waste. It's not.
Are you a Roblox fanatic? Microsoft Rewards has a brand new way for you to earn digital.
It's not even that none of these characters.
I mean, Aquaman and Lola Bunny was kind of actually hitting for me. I don't know. That actually, if they would have brought them earlier in the game. Like, they should have brought another female. If we talk about female thing, why they didn't bring Poison Ivy? Why we didn't bring... It's all females. Why we didn't bring Catwoman? That's what I'm talking about. Like, games... Like, y'all should have just said, oh, we bringing DC niggas on this motherfucker. Batman, Superman, Woman. All right. Bring Harley. We got Harley. We got Joker. But bring Catgirl. Or Catwoman, I mean. Poison Ivy. Bring the Penguin nigga. Or if you didn't want to bring the Penguin nigga, bring, fucking Robin. Well, Robin was going already be in the game, so I mean, I guess. So if slash that shit, my nigga. Aquaman, Green Lantern. And then if you want one more female, bring that bird chick. If you wanted to bring like a female character, there's like plenty of female characters. You could have brought Venom in this game too. Spider-Man, Venom, and all that shit, motherfuckers.
This would be accepted. The game just needed to prioritize some other characters to make their inclusions not feel weird and jarring. You can't just add Morty and then delay Rick for like 2 months while adding another different character before him. That's not normal. But with all of that said regarding the relaunch, things were not going too well. The update that added shields was kind of the last straw for a good percentage of the player base. Balance updates were controversial, the new content was questionable, and the monetization was just way too predatory even by the standards of most free-to-play games out there. It's not surprising that shortly after the boost in player numbers from the relaunch, things quickly nosedived. Only a couple of months after launch, the concurrent player counts dropped from around 100,000 to barely scraping 5,000. By the end of 2024, the game was struggling to retain even 1,000 players. Obviously, this doesn't tell the full story as the game is still available on consoles, but the drop is still
And they should have brought some more characters from Steven Universe. Now I'm just thinking about sitting back looking at this, my nigga, and looking at this whole ass screen, my nigga. Like, you could dead ass motherfucking put a lot of niggas in this game. You should have, like, for Steven Universe, you good, kept that, and and you should have got like, I forgot who else was the strongest in this motherfucker. You know what? We gotta go. We got at off cameras. We gotta watch Steven Universe. I just fucked up that shit. I know y'all niggas laughing at
And
it.
because of this, the game was cooked. It was announced at the start of 2025 the game would be shutting down for good, and as of the upload date of this video, you could no longer download MultiVersus. The game is dead and buried. Frustratingly, after this announcement, the game teased a new update showing increased game speed that somewhat resembled how the beta played. And I think this is the perfect representation of just how poorly this game was handled. The game is being shut down, and now you choose to fix one of the biggest issues with the relaunch? The tale of MultiVersus is very depressing. The game had so much promise and the beta was so much fun despite its flaws, but the devs just fumbled the bag when it came to the gameplay, and Warner Brothers had its way with how the game was monetized, all but ensuring its fate and that the game would soon be dead and forgotten alongside the rest of the failures of the platform fighter genre. Maybe one day there will be a new platform fighter that can stand on its own 2 feet among Smash Bros and Brawlhalla and not die after a year of service, but it doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. Rest in peace, MultiVersus.
I will bring MultiVersus back. I promise you my words. I will bring this stuff back. I will bring this stuff back. I got y'all, bro. I got y'all niggas. I know y'all gonna miss that MultiVersus. I'm gonna bring that shit back. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us, social media did pop up on the screen. We're on the road to 300, and I'm out.